Hello, peoples. It's time to get your fingers inky and sticky with glue and to stamp along with me. Today it's Thursday, and so that is, the day that I love to stamp with you guys. So today's class is Use It Up, and I am using up the Wildly Flowering Designer Series paper, all while using the Wildflower Designs stamp set and dies. So, good morning, Kat, and let me officially begin with good Thursday morning and welcome to the Backstage Pass. This is Seeing Ink Spots, and today we are stamping. I said that. And this is what we're stamping with, this whole sweet collection. You guys, this is, it's what I call, once you see what I'm going to show you today, because I have a whole bunch of samples to show you, you're going to fall in love with this sweet collection. I promise you, you're going to love it. Okay, so with that said, hello, Jennifer, Kat. I'm not sure who else is watching. It didn't tell me, but swipe left to reveal comments. Okay, there they are. All right, so, there we go. Oh, Marcia McCune, hello. Coming in from Michigan. Good to have you here. Okay, so I'm going to flip my screen and we're going to begin with just a little bit of business and then on with the show. All right, so here we go. Here comes I'm going to do this because that button's always hard to find once I turn the camera around. Okay. Let's see what we have here. What we have going on. Okay. See if we can zoom this in. Nope, we can't. I don't know why they changed that. Anywho, all right, I'm gonna bring this out whoa, sorry. I just totally dumped all you guys. Sorry about that. But I'm bringing my camera, I'm stretching it out just a little further here. See if it's gonna work. Looks like it's gonna sag, so hold on. Jan Olive, hello. Good morning, Jan. Thank you for that. Okay, just trying to figure out my camera stand here. I wish it were just a one easy, but I'm not that, I don't have that great of equipment. I just have my stand and my phone, and it's working great. All right, so today's class is Use It Up, the Wildly Flowering Sweet Collection. This is in the annual catalog, if you're wondering where that is. Next week's class, right here in the Backstage Pass, and you all are holders and you are all invited, is Hearts and Hugs. This is a cute little bundle here. It's not part of a sweet collection. It is a bundle, and it does have some matching dies, and it looks like I have the wrong die. These are the changing leaves dies. I do have the dies to this. Maybe they're not just... Yeah, I'm like, no, wrong dies. That's coming up next. This does have matching dies, and they are very cute. They die cut these little critters, and there's flowers and hearts and just cute stuff. So that's what will be next week. If you don't have this, just bring any cute open line image set and some papers and inks and cardstocks to match. You can join right along. Doesn't have to be exactly what I'm using. Then, technique time. Here we go. These are the right dies. Here is the embossing folder for this set of dies. This is a hybrid set of, it's a hybrid embossing folder and dies. So, and then there is the Changing Leaves stamp set. So this bundle, this gorgeous bundle, it is on back order right now. It is estimated to be back in stock around September 2nd. You like that? Estimated and around. But class is the 29th of August, so it's not that many days after that this becomes available. There is time for you to purchase this kit, or on my current host code, which you can find on my blog, if you have a $50 purchase, you guys get this class for free. So with a $50 purchase, you're getting $50 of product and a class. Or for $35, you can purchase the class. So to me, spend $15 more and get some products. Okay, so that's the Changing Leaves bundle. Register by 8/23 because I will be shipping on the morning of the 24th. I'll be shipping out all of the kits. So join me for that. It's going to be gorgeously fun. And then just a little bit of, put this in your list of classes that you're going to want to attend. Technique time in September will be the sophisticated sled. So I'm looking forward to this one a ton. So there you have it, folks. That is what's coming up. And I'll also, even before I start, I'm playing with an idea for a mini studio ink spots, which would be all about some Christmas product. So that's what's kind of in my list of ideas of things to do. Oh, that makes it worse. I'm trying to get rid of I'm trying to get rid of this right here where my hands are, the stand, but I can't seem to get rid of it. So, oh well, ignore it. Here we go. I will ignore it. I will try. Those kinds of things make me crazy. All right, so here's the Wildly Flowering Use It Up kit. These were mailed out with last month's Technique Time class, which was the Mediterranean Bloom. So this came with that. So with that $50 purchase, you get Technique Time free. With a $75 purchase, I tack this kit on as well. So you get 2 kits. And so next month, I believe my Use It Up class is going to be Iconic Imagery. I can't remember if it's Iconic Imagery or yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I can't totally remember. It's written down somewhere, but not right here. Okay, so here is, whoops, I'm using up some old gems here. Here's some more of them in here. I want to keep them handy. Crud, I kept the cardboard. These were, they're clear white and kind of a petal pink color. Faceted gems. I'm not exactly sure, but they are pretty. And so I had quite a few. So I thought, let's use these up. So we're going to use those up today. We're also going to be using up some Wildly Flowering Designer Series paper. So I just cut up what I had and I'm sharing with you. But you guys, in person, these papers are so beautiful. All right? I'm telling you, they are stunners in person. All right, so you have that. And then you have some cardstocks. For right now, what I want to do is I'm going to just slide those out of the way. I'm going to take the Early Espresso, the Moody Mauve, the whites, basically all of these single pieces, and this Wild Wheat. We're going to do some pre-cutting before we actually get into making any projects here. So just a slightly different approach to the class. And so the first thing I want to do is with this Wild Wheat, and this is just a piece of Wild Wheat. I had a bunch of these long pieces from cutting other cards. So this is what's left over when you do a 5.5 by 11. So if you're doing a card that takes that, a larger piece, this is the 3 inches that's left over. Yep, it is. Definitely a leftover. I'm just going to chop this in half lengthwise. It's folded so that I could get it into the mail to you. But we're just going to fold that, just chop that right in half. And that was really easy. This next cut is really easy as well. I want a 3/4 inch strip. And so this 3/4 inch strip, we're going to use that on our first card. And these two, I'm just going to set aside for now. And now with these others, what I want to do is I want to do some die cutting with these, okay? So we have all of these papers here. So here are the dies for the Wildly Flowering Sweet Collection. These are called Wildflower Designs, and I will introduce you to these if you haven't seen them. There are open dies to die cut these wildflower images. How fun is that? Okay. What's nice about these wildflowers, Jolinda's here too. Awesome. What's nice about these wildflowers is we have a little bit of a variation in scale. So this nice piece of what looks like kind of a garlic or an agapanthus, you know, is a little larger, and then we get all the way down to this dandelion that's a little bit smaller. Okay, so those are the open dies. We will visit those for sure today. And then there are 3 more fantastic dies. Don't forget about this set when you're using other designs, other, bundles and sweet collections, because these are some basics right here. And they're all in the hexagon shape. They're stitched. This one's a frame, a large hexagon, a small stitched hexagon. There's the stitching. And then you have this cute one that has, the scallops. I'm like, ruffles. But this kind of line in here does kind of make it look like a ruffle. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to die cut this big, large guy on our Moody Mauve. So this is all going to happen in real time, folks. I don't have this done ahead of time. All right, so we need that one. And then this is the label to my dies. So then what I want to do is on the brown, on the early espresso, we're going to do that. Notice that I'm kind of eking them over to the side because I may be using these scraps for something. So we have that. And then with one of the whites, we're going to die cut. All right, notice my placement. That's so I can get the other images stamped on there. So I'm die cutting that one. I haven't left you. Got to move some things over though. Okay, so there's my first one. That one's done. Look at, I just really love the stitching and the different details they'll do on the edges of these dies. Just a nice finish when you're using that. Here comes the early espresso. Now, with this one that I'm die cutting, I want to point out that you get a twofer in this. So you get the cool scalloped edge here, which can act as a frame, and then you also get another hexagon. Now, this one's not stitched, but that's okay. That's okay. Not everything needs to be stitched. So we have that. Okay, so we're going to set these 2 pieces aside, save those. We'll be coming back to them for sure. Maybe. All right, so we have one more to do. No, just one. I'm confusing myself. 2 more to do. So we're going to do this one as well. So, and I'm going to turn it this direction. So on the second piece of white that's in your kit, we're going to cut that. And then we have the Moody Mauve one. So let's do this one first since it's on the plate. So what's new with all of you guys? What have you been doing? School started here. I don't know if it started yesterday or today, but they have started. Okay, save that. We're going to be stamping on it. And here comes those 2 pieces. Just like the brown. So now we've got kind of our, by doing this ahead of time, we'll have them ready for when it comes time to incorporate them into our cards today. So I'm making 3 cards today. And I can see we're really crooked here. All right, hold on. I'm still trying to get this just the way I want it, so that it has a better, that's a much better angle. Now things aren't keystoning for you. Looks better. Okay, so there's my leftovers. Save that. You never know when you need it. And now look at these 2 pieces here. So these two pieces, I'll bring these up so you can see them a little closer. So this is a frame, and both edges on this frame are stitched. Okay, I don't know if you can see that, but so the outer edge and the inner edge are stitched, and then the edge on this one is also stitched. Beautiful. So fun. Great. They are super pretty. And before I totally annihilate my stamp space, I'm going to just put these back on the magnet sheet here, and I'll tuck these back in my envelope because I don't want to lose anything. Okay, there's that. Now, one more prep thing that I want to do before we get going is I want to take the other half of the wild wheat. Remember, this was 2 pieces. We cut it in half. I want to take this one, and I'm going to emboss with the Dashing Designs embossing folder. This folder is part of this Wildly Flowering Sweet Collection. And you guys, this sweet collection is just that. It is sweet. I'm just doing a quick little cut here on the end of my paper. I just took a hair off, and that's where that score line was. It had a little bit of a bump, a little ridge from where it was folded, so I was just trying to get rid of that. Okay, so I like to line my paper up on this line right here of the embossing folder. That way I have, you know, even though the designs are diagonal and whatnot, it's the intended direction of the way Stampin' Up! Designed this. So here we go. The sandwich for this, so Deanna Cave, if you were watching, here's my sandwich for this. We were talking about this on Monday night. This is a thicker folder. It's a 3D folder. I'm doing plate number 1, then the folder. This is the edge I'm going to go through first. That's my folded edge. And then plate number 4. You want to use your plate number 4. That's the sandwich. So that's just for you, Deanna. Whoops. All right. There we go. And we're through. And look at this. I just love it. There are tiny squares and triangles and circles and dashed lines and dots and little arrows and little teeny tiny, this is like a leaf. But it also looks good on the other side. It's like even hard to tell which way it should go. So, all right. There we go, folks. This one's going to be for stamping, so set that in that pile. So now we have some things that we're going to be using on cards here. I'm going to use this one on card number 1 for sure. And I'm going to also use, of all the things we cut and did, I'm going to use this piece as well. So these two, and we will set these others aside. And those will be for cards 2 and 3. Okay, so we just did a little bit of stuff before we actually dove in and started working on the details for each of our cards. So for this first card, I am going to use a half a sheet of Misty Moonlight. This is 8.5 by 5.5 inches tall. And then I've scored it in half so that now my finished card size is going to be 4.25 by 5.5, but I'm actually going to rotate it, and it's going to be a landscape card, so it's going to be 5.5 by 4.25. Okay, now from our papers, our designer series papers, look for this one right here. This is the one you're looking for. It is blue on blue, so it's Misty Moonlight, tone on tone, and the back is also Misty Moonlight with some beautiful florals on here. So I'm going to use this side though, and we're going to use a product. You've seen me use it a couple times, but I'm going to use it again because, excuse me, I got a frog in my throat all of a sudden. We're going to use this one because I totally love it, this product, and that is the Metallic Enamel Effects. And I think that the metallic enamel effects, all 3 of these colors work brilliantly and I'll show them to you later. They look fantastic with these papers and these colors. Frog is still in the throat, sorry. All right, so this one is silver. And I'm gonna just give it a little shake. I have one of my palette knives. I like this one, okay? It's kind of an offset. And I'm going to just squish out, okay? I mean, no rhyme or reason. It doesn't have to be pretty. And then I'm going to just kind of use this palette knife, the offset palette knife, and just spread the metallic. And if I get little brush marks and fun stuff and texture, that's exactly what I'm going for. Okay, that's it. That's all I'm going to do. But what I want to be mindful of, as soon as you're finished, you're going to want to get that off of your palette knife, because if it dries there, it is like sticky paint and it does not come off easy. It takes a lot of elbow grease to get it off, if you know what I mean. Okay, so there is that piece. And I think what I want to do is we're going to let this one dry, and I'm going to bring one in that I've already done ahead of time. Now, I want to point out, see how the piece is curling? Okay, that is because we have wet on one side only, and that's the way it's going to stay. But once it dries, what I did is I took my paper and I just kind of rubbed it over the straight. My desk has a nice 90-degree angle. It's a crisp. And I just straightened out my paper. You can see that it doesn't really have a curl to it anymore. I straightened it out to get it to be nice and flat. So you'll have to kind of do that action, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to set this one far aside to dry, and I'll use this one later. So I'll bring the one in that's already dry, because you don't want to have to wait for it to dry. Now, speaking of waiting for it to dry, it does dry pretty quick in this style. If you like do dots of it to make like mini pearls and things, then that definitely takes longer. Okay, so this is going to be super easy, you guys. I'm going to layer this piece onto my Misty Moonlight base. And I should tell you, the measurement of this piece is 3 3/4 by 5. All right, and I better double check. Yep, 3 3/4. Yep. I just had to make sure. Now, the paper does have a direction to me. So you notice I rotated at 180 degrees. So some of these flowers, I have them facing up. Okay, so easy peasy. I am just going to set this right on center. So nothing too crazy, fancy, hard. Just kind of keeping it classic in this layout. All right. So now what I want to do is I'm going to take my white frame here, and I'm going to take my Misty Moonlight ink pad, and I'm going to turn it upside down, and I'm just going to kind of, tap it into the ink. Okay, I'm not mushing it all over because I just don't want to make a huge mess. And so I do want to get it covered though. Okay, yep. Ooh, that's nice and dark. Looking good. It may take a second for it to dry, or I'll blot it on my paper here. Get this side. Just a little bit more right there. All right. Now, if I were actually stamping and not doing a Facebook Live right now, I'd have just dove right in there and got ink all over my fingers. But I need to kind of be able to make more projects without having to go and wash all the ink off my fingers. So there you have it. And if it's light in a few places, that's okay. But I like doing this sort of thing because you can see it is kind of light in a few spaces, and it actually ends up being, rather than just using Misty Moonlight cardstock, it takes on a different look. So we're getting variation of that Misty Moonlight color. Okay, so that's going there. And I've got the effects on my finger, paint up my finger. And now I want to stamp this piece here. This is the wild wheat piece that we trimmed off at the very beginning, I'm going to stamp that with Sending Happy Thoughts. That's the stamp that I want to use. And I'm going to use Early Espresso. Okay. Most of my stamping with, so stamping stamps, yes, I've used some other ink pad colors. Most of what I'm going to do today is going to be with the Early Espresso. Okay. So there's Sending Happy Thoughts. I love this font. I think it's fun. And I really do enjoy the greetings in this stamp set. We have Sending Happy Thoughts. You've been on my mind, and thank you. That's my kind of sentiments, okay? All right, now I'd like to use, and I want to point out, this is the Happy Labels punch. Kind of see you have a scallop edge and you have a ticket edge. And of course you can do 1/2, 3/4, and 1 inch. And so that's why this is 3/4 of an inch. And I'm going to use the scallop edge. It's kind of hard to see. There's a better view of it. Okay. I'm going to use the scallop edge, and I'm going to punch the sending. I'm going to punch that end. Get in there. Okay. And the reason I chose the scallop end is because I love how it plays off the larger scallop, okay? And so this is going to kind of reach right across like that, and we'll have to figure out how much we're gonna cut off, or if we're gonna cut, a lot off or just a little, I'm not quite sure. And now from here, what I'm going to do, okay, this, I do want it off center. I don't want it center. So we're going to send it over to that side. And then with this piece of Designer Series paper, I am going to cut out a couple of these flowers, okay? I'm going to cut some of these flowers out, and I'm also going to cut some of these small flowers out, but I'm hoping to leave kind of a section open right in here. Or if it's better to do like this one, and this one, then I'm leaving this corner that I can do a die cut out of. But, so you're going to fussy cut some flowers. That, you guys, I'm not going to do in real time. I have them done ahead of time because they do take a little while to cut out. But here you can see, I just have 3 of these. Okay, so those 3. Those are going to be our focal images. And then I've cut some of these smaller flowers out as well. Okay, and you'll even notice that this one here, whoops, sorry, it dropped out of my hand. This one was on the edge of my 6x6 piece of paper, which these pieces were cut 6x6 and smaller in your kits, but it actually is 12x12 paper. But so you can see I'm using the edge because that's just we'll just tuck it under and you won't even notice. It's okay, Livy. Okay, so I have, bunches of these little flowers. So let me just kind of take these off for just a second. And then we'll start to layer these in. Okay, get out of there. So let me dry fit, and then we'll see how much of that we're going to cut off. And I do want it down. So I'm bringing this not all the way to the edge, but I want a little bit of that to show through. Okay, and I do want this over to the edge as well. And let's place these. So I'm going to take my largest one, and I'm actually going to go under the greeting and the frame. This one's going to go under and over the frame. Maybe tuck back a little bit more so we see more of that frame right there. And then this one, I'm going to place down in here. Okay. Super pretty. Now these will go on with, we'll just kind of add these in different places as accents. Okay. And then this one here, I can maybe take this one and even turn it upside down and tuck it like that, or I can kind of tuck it underneath and you don't even know that it's only a partial. We'll see where that one's going to go. or if I don't even use it. So we'll see. But, so I need to decide what I'm going to do on this end, if I'm going to cut it off or if I'm going to take it all the way to the edge. I think I'm going to take it all the way to the edge. And so I'm going to make a really technical mark here. I just made a little cut with my hobby blade there. Sometimes I use a pencil, sometimes I just squish it with my fingernail. And that's my, you know, my very difficult way. No, it's called the easiest way. So, of marking how much I wanted to chop off. Okay, so I've just taken about 3/8 of an inch off. And now that we kind of know what we're doing, I'm going to go ahead and add just a little bit of glue to this bottom edge right here. Hold on, I want to find my original here so I can see what I'm doing. I'm going to glue on this end, but I'm going to dimensional on this other section. Okay, so dimensional, this is a single layer, and I'm just going to kind of keep that because that's going to bridge. So this is going to kind of come in here. And I'm holding this in place so I know where this needs to go, but I think it's right about here. Yeah, okay. That is good. Now, these just eventually have to get out of my way. Now I'm going to glue this one. Notice I haven't pulled my backings off. This one's going to glue down. Okay, but I need to keep that top open because I have a flower that's going to go underneath it. Okay, top is free of glue for right now. So this is just going to slide under. Okay. Well, we did it with minor catastrophes, just right there and right there. Got some glue in the way. Okay, so there is that. I can kind of angle that just the way I want it. Get everything precise. Then I'll go ahead and push down, and I'm still going to hold off on pulling off my dimensional backs. Now this is the bigger one. This is the one that's going to go under, and I'm going to glue this one. And so this is going to go under all of that. Okay, there's that one. Now what I can do, if I want to glue that down, I'll do this. So like this little tiny piece that we cut off, this now becomes my little tool, my little spatula. Ooh, that's a lot of glue. Hold on. And I can take this and just kind of dab a little glue and then tack that down. So I'll use garbage pieces for, you know, little tools like that. This one's going to go on with dimensionals. And we'll tuck this one and overlap it, making some fun dimension here. This one's going to glue, but I am going to kind of give these just a little bit of, I'm curling the ends up just a little bit. So it has, even though I'm gluing it, the edges have just a little bit of natural looking dimension. It has, you know, so it doesn't feel quite so flat to the paper. Not super glued down. Okay, this one's going underneath. Okay. Maybe bring this out. There we go. I like with that, those petals peeking through. Now I feel like I can come in here and pull those dimensional backings. There it is. Good morning, Terry DeFont. I'm happy you are here. Okay. And so now I'm going to add some of these flowers. I'm going to use some mini dimensionals in here. Great. I have one mini dimensional that I don't have to cut. So some of these I'm going to glue and some I'm going to pop with a little bit of dimension. We'll put one right there. And let me do a little trimming of these. Oh boy. I really don't have any minis. Takes me a little while to go through a sheet of minis, if you know what I mean. Okay. There's that. And I like that big one right in there. I think we'll do something like this. Yeah. You know, I've made this card, a similar version to this card. I'll show you the other version that I've done. But your flowers, because your DSP, it's different each time. So let's see, how am I going to arrange the flowers this time? So there's a couple of flowers there, and I think I'm going to leave it at that. I like that. But I do want to add a little linen thread, just a little bow. I'm going to do just a little bow right in there, and then we will pull out the gems, the faceted gems, and we'll use up some of those on this. I think for this one, we'll use the whitish colored ones. Okay, so there's my linen thread. Maybe make the loops a little bigger. Not much. Okay, and I'm going to put a glue dot right in here where I want it to go. So I want my linen thread right about here. So I just tucked it under. So some of it's underneath my greeting here. Come on. And now the cover's hiding in there. Well, all right. No, it's not hiding. Technical difficulties. And now I'll just take that knot of my linen thread and just kind of work the fibers into that glue dot, if you know what I mean, so that we know that it stays. So a little linen thread there. And so these are the faceted gems. Okay, so we have a bunch of them here. I'm going to use this clear, not the clear, I think I'm going to use this whitish color in this one. And I think what I'm going to do is just kind of add them here and there. And it looks like we have 6 of this color. Maybe I'm just going to use 3 for now. But let's do another one. So let's do it kind of, well, let's see, where do we want to go? I know I definitely want to do one over here, but I think I want to tuck it. And then let's do another one. Maybe we'll tuck this one down over in here. Okay, but I think that I want to do a small right there. So I'm just going to do a quick switcheroo here. I have one more small in that color. Yeah. And I think I'm going to tuck it and hide it just a little bit. I kind of like when they're hidden. Okay. And there you have it. And I didn't even use Wink of Stella, but I think I should because she's here, folks. She's in the house. So I think I'm just going to, on these guys, you know, just do a little in the centers and then kind of where there's these little hash drawn lines, I'm just going to do a little. And then I think I'll just sweep up and accent some of this just to give a little hint here and there. And there you have it. There's our first card focusing on the Designer Series paper. All right, so pretty, so pretty. Here's what I was working off of. Here's another variation of the card, slightly different, but you'll see that it's the same layout with the frame. My paper color is a little different. This one's crumb cake, this one's wild wheat. I like the punch of the wild wheat and the misty moonlight. This, however, is a slightly different fold. It's a little bit of a fancier fold, but it's still a really easy, fancy fold. And I'll turn it this way so you can see. So there is your card base right there, you know. Okay, obviously it's backwards. And so I've just taken and folded back, what is that, 1.5 inches? Yeah. So I just scored, maybe I'll show you from the back here. I scored 1.5 inches from the edge, and then I've glued my piece of cardstock on top. But yeah, so there is one, super pretty. And then we've got some stamping on the inside, of course. And then there's more of that designer series paper. And if I were smart, I could have made this even a pocket. You know, you could really hide a card in there if you wanted. So there's our first one. Super pretty. Super, super pretty. Now let's move right along. Oh, this next one. I love this card, you guys. It is so pretty. So these are the pieces you are going to need for this next card. You're going to need this one. Is that the one? That is the one. And the crumb cake. We'll be using that. And also for this card, we are going to use the piece that we embossed. That one right there. And a couple other pieces. Let me show you the pieces we're going to use. We're going to use the brown. So we've already die cut that. And we're going to use a white one. We're going to use the smaller white one. Okay? So those are our pieces for this card. Here's what we need to do first, though. First, we're going to take this one and we're going to trim it down. It's 4 by 5 and 4.25 right now. I want it to be square, so I want it to be 4 by 4. So I'm just going to turn it, and along the long side, I'm going to cut it off to 4 inches. Save that. You never know when we're going to use it. Okay. So now with this piece here, we're going to do a little bit more of the metallic effects. So scratch paper underneath and grab the metallic effects. This time I'm going to use the gold. So there's gold, copper, and silver in this pack. And I'm going to do the exact same technique, nothing different. Okay? So we're just adding, swooshing it on just like that. Okay? And take your palette knife and just smooth it out. You guys, this stuff is so fun. It's so pretty. Okay, now I'm intentionally not going to all the edges. Okay, so there's that. Do you guys have the metallic effects? If you don't, I would encourage you to put them in your next order because they're fabulously fun to work with. Okay, so same drill as our last card. Yes, it's going to curl. Once it dries completely, and this takes probably 10 minutes to dry, you're going to want to kind of smooth it out with the edge of your desk or something. So I actually have one that's done ahead of time so that we don't have to wait for it to dry. Okay, I'll set that with the other one that's drying. But I do want to do something very cool to this, all right? And in the stamp set, there's a little texture image. And I'm going to use that. And I'm going to use wild wheat, a wild wheat ink pad. And I am just going to, this is going to be kind of the equivalent of taking a blending brush and just kind of darkening the edges. But instead of using a blending brush, I'm going to stamp it and create a darker side by just stamping and stamping and stamping. So I'm stamping it, picking it up, and I'm just stamping off all around the edge. And so it may be tricky to see, but what it does is it really starts to kind of bring out, you know, because it's lighter on the inside and it does stamp over and kind of like the metallic paint resists it. So kind of I was trying to say emboss resist. Okay, I'm going to punch the corners up even more than the sides. So it's kind of like taking a sponge and inking the edges, right? But I'm using a stamp instead. And it's one of these touches that you might not notice if you didn't see somebody do it, but it really does look cool. And I'll show different samples of it at the end today, because I've done it a lot with this. Okay, I'm going to punch this corner up even more. Just loading a lot of ink there on the corner. And it's just providing more dimension to this piece. Okay. I think we've got it. But yeah, sometimes it's really fun to use images from sets and use them in unusual ways. And that's a little bit of a different way. Okay, so there's that piece. I want to do some stamping here on my on the hexagon here. I'm going to use Early Espresso. And I'm going to stamp thank you. So this is going to be a thank you card. Okay. So I'm just inking up and I'm going to stamp it right down here across the bottom. Just like so. Really easy. And let's bring our other pieces in. Okay, so this is the way the layout's going to go. Our piece of embossed wild wheat, I'm going to put it right down the center. And I'm gluing it, as you can see. It's not going on with dimensionals. So just right down the center. And I'm eyeballing. Oh, jeez. I thought it wasn't going to slide, so I picked it up, and now I got a handful of glue. Just what I wanted. Okay. Right down the center, except it's super crooked, so hold on, folks. Oh my gosh, you guys, how could it be this hard? Do you ever have those moments? The easiest task becomes belabored. So Jan has them, and she's looking forward to trying this. Yes. Hello, Suzanne. Yes, Jan, I think they're really cool. I like making like centers of flowers with them, you know, or just making pearls on, say, your silicone sheet and letting them dry and then moving them. But yeah, I kind of like this effect too. It's just kind of fun to do. So I'm just kind of making sure my paper is good and flat here. And this is going to go here. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that. And it's going to be a little higher than center. Just because this is center, I don't want everything to be like center, center, center. And pick the direction you like of your designer series paper best. I think I like it this way. No. Find a way, find a way. Just get her done. So yeah, I'm a little higher than I am lower. Okay. You guys, this has such a vintage feel to it when you put the shimmer on there with the metallic effects. Oh goodness, is it pretty, pretty. Did I mention that it shimmers? Okay, that was easy enough. And now these two are going to layer. I'm going to just put glue on the one side though, because I know I'm going to be tucking some leaves in here. So let's glue that. Okay, remember, just a little glue on the one side. And this is actually going to come over to here. So that's where that's headed. But we have some stamping to do. So let's take one of these pieces of white and do a little bit of stamping. In fact, we're going to do a lot of stamping so that we can just have it ready for what's coming up. So let's see here. We're going to stamp this image. So these images that we're doing right now are for, these are going to be for 2 cards. And that's just because I want to make sure I have enough room for everything. So this first image, we're just going to kind of tuck this right in the corner, way down in here. Okay, I love this image. We're going to be stamping that one again. But I also want to stamp, let's see here. We're going to stamp, let me take one of, I've got two images on one block, taking one off. So this image here. Super pretty. We're going to stamp this one once, twice, 3 times. So you want 3 of these. I think I'm going to go this way. Yeah, this is a good fit. Just like that. So 3 of those. And let's see, what else do we want to do here? I'm going to take this piece, and before I chop it off, we're going to stamp some images. So this is what we have stamped so far. We're going to stamp a few more things. We are going to stamp, I do need to put this little dude back on, so we'll put this on this block. We're finished with the thank you for today. So we'll take that one away. So this littler looks like a dandelion. Just going to tuck this right down in there. And I'll do another one over here. And another one over here. Because I need 3 of them. So we have 3 of the little one, 3 of the medium. And so far we have 1 of the big. We need 1 more of these. And I'll tuck this one right in here, just like so. Okay, that is the stamping that we need to do for now. So I'm actually just going to cut this right off. And I'll just chop that off just because it's dangling and bugging me. But that is the stamping. What we need to do is get all of these images colored. And just to get this out of my way, I'm just chopping it off. We don't need that. That's trash. Okay, so for this card, I'm going to color these 3 images here. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to use Wild Wheat, and I'm going to use Moody Mauve, okay? So these I'm going to set aside for now. We'll do the coloring for the other card we'll do later. I just wanted to make sure I got all the images in and that they fit in the space. Okay, this is light wild wheat, and I'm doing just a quick, I'm just laying some color down right in these leaves. Okay. Super, super, super easy peasy. Nothing major. And I'm going to do a little bit at the base of these flowers. And then I'll take some of the dark. And I'm going to keep this real easy, and I'm just going to go right up the vein. And it's just a hint of added, depth. It's not too much. That's it with the wild wheat. Now with the Moody Mauve, we'll just do a quick fill. This is light. Yep. And you know me, I'm okay if I've left some little white spots here and there. These blends, they continue to kind of blend out. They wick out just a little bit. So it will fill it, but if it doesn't, I kind of think it's just kind of a nice little natural highlight. Okay. And then I'll touch just a tiny bit of the dark here in just a second. Of course, my hand's covering everything and you can't see it. I'm so sorry. Okay, now you can see what I was doing. Now just a little bit of this. I'm just gonna do just down here at the bottom. Very subtle. There you go. That is it. So then we will need to die cut those. So as I showed earlier, there is a die for each of these floral images. So you're gonna go 1, 2, and 3. So I have those done ahead of time. That way you're not having to watch that. So there are those. And there's one more thing I want to make for this card. And then we'll have all of our elements. Okay, let me just bring this piece in. And I'm going to put this one back in here so I don't lose it. And with this piece, I'm going to color this piece bringing in some blends here. So I have Crumb Cake Light and Dark, and I have Ivory. Now Ivory comes with Ivory and Bronze. So this is the Ivory. This is a magic. If you know, if you haven't noticed, we don't have basic beige Stampin' blends, but actually we do. This Ivory is really good with basic beige, but it's also going to help me bridge some color here. So I am going to just lay down some color here. This is dark, okay, and I'm not doing anything pretty or special or extra fancy. We're just laying some color down. And now I'll go with some light and just kind of fill in these spaces. Okay, maybe come crosswise just a little bit. I really need some new crumb cake. This one's really dry. Now I'm going to take that Ivory and just kind of swipe over this. And this is just a beautiful work of art like you've never seen before. So we're just kind of blending that color in there. That's all. Just scribble, 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 whatever. And I'm going to borrow. So this die that I'm going to use is not in this wildly flowering or wildflower designs. This is from Country Flowers. And I know a bunch of you have Country Flowers, so this is a great one to use. Jen Mallett says, happy Thursday, Liz, and all. Jumping on from work for a few minutes. You don't have this product yet. You know what? This is such pretty stuff. Okay, such pretty stuff. So, speaking of pretty stuff, I wanted some leaves, and the only bummer with this set, while we have some awesome designs here, and we have the flowers, I feel like there needs to be a little foliage. So just jump into any of your sets of dies or punches and punch some leaves. And so I'm going to do 2 of these right on my, so I've got one there, and I can fit another one right there. But look at that, folks. I have some done, so you don't have to sit and watch me do it. But at least you know where I got the paper and that it is from your kit. So now let's put this together. I'm going to want some linen thread here for sure. Linen thread and Wink Stella, right? So this is probably about 16 inches. And I'm just going to tie a bow like so. And then, so everyone's like, your bows look so good. Yeah, look at it. It looks really dumb. You have to shape your bows. So I'm just pulling on the ends. Okay. And see how this is twisted? So I'm just going to untwist. And as I untwist, I'm going to hold on it. And that kind of took the twist out. Okay. So I held on it and I kind of trained it a little bit. And look, it just went back. You're going my way. So that's going to come in here. And then this one, so I'm going to add my leaves in, kind of right there. So that one's in between the white and the espresso. This one's going to go underneath, just to give it a little bit of variety. And it's going to come in here. And then we're going to take these 3 images. I'm going to put some dimensionals on them. Okay. So we'll do a bottom. I wish I had more minis handy. I should look through my little bowl here if I have some more minis. And then I'll do a big guy up top. It's a bit much, but it's what's handy right now. Okay, and so these 3 are going to go across the middle here. And I just like the use of repetition here. So I'm just going to do 1. And I'm not quite sure where this is going to go just yet, our exact placement, but that is going to go there. Okay, here comes the second one. And I'm going to tuck under, kind of maybe change the angle a little bit. And we'll do one more on the other side. Easy, easy. Just like, let me bring it down just a little bit. There we go. So pretty. Okay, so now this, I think I'm going to put this on with dimensionals. This will make it so that we actually have 2 layers of dimensionals, one on the flowers and then one here on our hexagons. But we actually have quite a bit of lift in this card from just the layers, if you know what I mean. Okay, so now let me actually put some glue on these. Whoa! We're going to put a lot of glue. It just came gushing out. We don't want that. Okay, so we'll slide this inside. Okay, just kind of off that edge. Pretty. And then this one, we'll do the same. Still have some glue from that other one. Notice I'm putting it on top because I'm going to stick it to the brown. Just like so. And I'm right on top of my dimensional, so I'll just do a little glue right there. Solves the problem. And I do want it to come down below this to kind of break that edge. Ugh, you guys, so pretty in person. Super, super pretty. And then this little gap right in here, that's right where my bow is going to go. And so we'll do it just like the first one. And I'm just going to put a little glue dot there. Now this one's going to show a little bit. So I'll just take it and I will take my little hobby blade here and kind of mush into those fibers. And then wherever it's showing, I'm just going to kind of push it in so that it doesn't show. And that's all I had to do. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Okay, let's just zhuzh these because we can. And I feel the need for glitter. Perfect. And now we have some gems here. And for our gems, I'm thinking we will use, I think we're going to use this pinkish color. And we have a bunch of them. We have like 5 of them. So use as many as you want, but let's see here. Where shall we go with these? You know, I think I'll do something like here. Maybe there. And maybe up in here. Kind of hide some of those. Oh, I should have done a big there. And maybe one, let's just do one kind of right here. No, I want to make sure that it's not the same level. So maybe we'll go up in here. You know, put them where you like them. And I've got 2 more. I'm going to use them since I'm hiding them. So I think I'm going to just kind of, we're just going to add them all. Why not? Just have some fun. Okay. So maybe this one will show right up in here. Okay. Super pretty, folks. Super, super, super pretty. Hope you like this. I wish you could see them in person because it's seriously, they are really, really, really pretty. Kind of want that to kind of go that way and fill that space. All right, there's number 2. Moving right along. We're going to start our next card. Let's see what we're using. This next card is going to be Basic Beige. That's our card base. And the card base is actually half a sheet of cardstock hot dog cut, if you know what I mean. Hot dog cut. And actually I'm going to keep my blends nearby because we're going to be coloring some more. So let's see what pieces of paper we have left here. We have lots of things left that we haven't used that we're going to use. But we're not going to use everything. So here's what we're going to use for this card. We are going to use this piece of paper here. Only I'm going to use this side. You could use either, but I kind of like this one. Okay. And this is going to just glue to the left side of our card. We're also going to use the frame that we cut, and this is going to go on center, and we're going to use these two pieces as well, and that's going to come in here. This piece you can save for another project, and then this piece here, I'm not sure if I'm going to use it or not. We'll see. If we do, it will be that we're going to fussy cut some flowers, or you could fussy cut the flowers and use them on another card. So you have some elements that you can kind of reuse on some other things. Now, if you remember, back when we did the first card, I said kind of keep one corner free on your paper here. And you wanted one corner free so that you could actually die cut. And I'm going to borrow, this isn't borrow, this is my own, but I'm going to include one of the greetings here from the Thoughtful Moments. So this is the Thoughtful Moments hybrid die. You might have joined me for Studio Ink Spot's Thoughtful Moments. I don't remember what the name of it was, but this is what we featured in the camp. So I try to go back and feature things that we've used before. And so I want to use that little bit, that little corner that you saved, to die cut the word hello. So this is how this works when you're using a hybrid embossing folder and die. And this is also for Deanna Cave. So this is how you're going to set it in, because she just got the changing leaves one, and it works the same way. You're going to kind of lock it in place. Then you're going to put your piece of paper on top of it. Obviously, we've just got a little corner that we need. And then you run it through the machine, folded edge first, on plate number 1 with plate number 4 on top. So that's how those work. You kind of saw it earlier today. And you end up with the word hello. So this is going to be on our card. And I'm actually going to put just a little bit of glue on this for a second. Not a ton of glue. Let's see if I have the right glue that I want. No. Well, I'll just do a just a tap of glue. Just enough to hold it in place. And you'll see why in a second here. So this is not to glue it down. That was just to kind of tack it in place. And I'm going to tack it on top of my scratch paper here. And I'm going to bring in a nail file or a sanding block. And the reason I've glued it down is so it doesn't wiggle all over the place. And I'm just going to lightly sand and grab some of those edges from the embossing, because the hybrid folder not only cuts the word hello out, it embosses the word hello. So I'm just trying to bring that embossing out with, and if my nail file here is so worn out, you guys, I just need to put another one in my stamp ring, but I haven't done it. It's almost just smooth. That's why I'm having I'd like to have it show just a little bit more of those edges, right? See if we can get some in this L and the E, the bottom. That's coming along. Oh, see, that's why we had a little bit of glue on there, so it would hold it in place and not rip or anything. So that's as much as I'm going to do. It doesn't have to be a lot, just enough. Let me just put that back down, because we're going to actually color this with wild wheat. This is light wild wheat. And you're going, hey, you just made it white. Now you're going to cover it? Yep, I am. Because you know what? Even though you're going to cover it, it will still show through as it dries, because it lightens a little bit. So I'm just barely touching on these skinnier areas, and I'm just adding some wild wheat. And I love the subtle contrast between the crumb cake and wild wheat here. Okay. Now, I'm not worrying about fully coloring in every bit and nook and cranny of the letters. I'm just kind of adding it. I'm just letting it be a little free in a way. But see how even though we colored right over that white is still, hopefully you guys can see that. Where's the sweet spot? I got to figure out what Facebook did. You know, it's just not quite the same. And I just don't think I can put my stand to the one side of me. I feel like I'll knock it off right off the counter if I put it there. I guess I could go further down the counter. So if I knock it, it doesn't fall off the edge. Okay, this side didn't get quite much coloring. Right in there. Okay, it's just a hint of color. It doesn't have to be massive amounts. I think you can see the difference between the crumb cake and the wild wheat. And then just add a little bit. Pick up these highlights here. Okay, there's that. Now I'm going to put dimensionals on the back of this. And I am using up some dimensionals from a previous paper pumpkin. These strips are perfect for this. Look at that, I'm done. I didn't have to cut anything crazy. Do this one right there. And I'll just chop one of these in half. That's not too bad. And we'll put one right there. Okay. So now that has some lift to it, and that's ready for our card. And we need to do some more coloring. So if you remember, we just used these three. Now we have a few more images left that we need to color and die cut. So let's do that. So color-wise, I'm going to kind of keep it in the same family here, but I want to show something pretty with these right here. So I'm going to take my light wild wheat, and I'm just going to go right, I am barely touching the paper. And I'm going right down that stem. And then I'm going to kind of accent, I'm just doing little wispies on these stems here. I'm not totally following them because I want it to be, I think wispy is the right word. I just want it to have a hint of color. So that's all I did there. You can't really see a ton. You see a little bit of that golden right through there. Now we'll take light Moody Mauve and just come in through here. And again, I'm not getting these perfect. I'm just touching little bits of color here and there. And if this has white areas, I'm totally okay with it because I'd rather have white areas than me going outside of the lines. Oh, I should say going outside of the lines too much. Because occasionally you do, right? But once you get it die cut, no one's going to know, oh, she went out of the lines right there. I see it. I found it. Okay. And so, of course, we would do the same with this one here. Okay. Now, how are we coloring these? Here's what I'm going to do with these. Just kind of like these. We'll do the same leaves. And this is light. And I'm going to take dark, do the exact same thing. Just kind of right in there, accenting that line. Now, this is ivory. I just want you to see how pretty this is. It's a different color, but it's just kind of fun. They're close together. They harmonize, really. It doesn't have to be all, very exact of what you're doing. It has to be a green leaf and a yellow bulb, but I just really like this. And I would do all three obviously, but I have them already done and die cut. So you guys don't have to see me do that. But I think this is just kind of a nice pull that takes us to our basic beige cardstock. So that's why I included it on this one. So yes, you have to color everything. And you're going to want to have those die cut, and I have that done ahead of time here. But there's one more thing I want to do before I pull those die cuts in, and that is I'm going to stamp one more image that we haven't used, but I think is an important image in this set. And that is this, it's kind of a mustard or a Queen Anne's lace. And we need 3. So we're just going to go a 1, a 2, a 3. And we'll die cut those. So everything has a die cut, an open line or an open image die to die cut these. So I have them all done here. Let's see what I have. Okay, so I have my agapanthus, our Queen Anne's lace. There's another one. Just pulling them all out. Getting all my pieces here. And one of them you're going to go, what'd you do to it? Well, I'll show you what I did to it. I trimmed it. This one I trimmed the leaves off. You'll see why in a minute. And one last one right there. And then, if you remember, on the last card, we used the leaves, right, from Country Flowers. I thought, well, since Country Flowers is open, might as well get one of the flower dies out from Country Flowers. And on your piece of Moody Mauve that you die cut this big piece, you have some leftover areas. So I die cut some of these flowers. So I have some of those here. One, ooh, that one has Wink Stella. That one doesn't. Okay, whoops, sorry about that. I just knocked over my stamp stash here. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. Let's start putting this all together since now we have, these are all of our pieces that we're going to use for this card. You saw all the stamping. We have a little friend visiting, 2 friends visiting on this card. Let's go ahead and get this all put together for a pretty, pretty card. So this is a top fold, and I'm going to add this right to the left side here. Okay, top to bottom, just using the piece right as it was cut in the kit. So measurement-wise, it's 5.5 tall by 3.5 wide. Okay, 3.5. And now this piece, we're going to glue this one on, and this one's going to go center. So I'm going to go center vertically and horizontally. Here it goes. Just like so. And it's a little hard to kind of see center because it gets a little deceiving. It's like, well, I think it's actually over here just a little bit, but anyhow, just get that in there the best you can. Okay, there's that. And now these pieces here. So this one here, I don't want it to be quite so stark white. So I'm just going to take my ivory and with my bone folder, I splatter knocked it, right? But you can't even see it. I know you guys can't see it because I can barely see it, but it definitely softened the color. It's not quite so white. It has a little more creaminess to it. That's going to tie into our basic beige. And here goes a little crumb cake. Nice. It just softens that white. Way, way, way back in the day, Stampin' Up! Used to carry a color called Naturals. And Naturals was a light basic beige, but it had fleck running through it. And it was so pretty. So, so pretty. So this is kind of reminiscent of that. Adding that little bit of splatter knocking, if you want to call it that. Okay, so this edge is kind of popping up. So I'm going to use one of my very sophisticated tools. This is trash. And I'm just going to add just a little, well, that's been the name of the game because this is a new tube of glue. It's like just been a little too much glue each time. But anyhow, you saw me do it earlier. I do this all the time, folks. I just kind of reach in here and then I'll tack that down. But I don't want to over push and have all that glue come flying out. Jan Lacey says, oh, wow, I needed some Elizabeth stamping today. Glad it's Thursday. Ah, ha, ha, ha. What a sweet and cool compliment. That is very cool. It is, yeah. I like Thursdays because I get to stamp with you guys. I would sure love to see what you guys are making. You know, post them. Post them in the group. Okay, so this is going to, these two pieces, I think I'm going to go ahead. I haven't decided if I want to put this in on dimensionals or if I want to just glue it. But let me show you where we're headed with this. So this is going to be offset, kind of like the other card. Okay, only this time we're going to nestle these two. I think I need to turn it. I know it's exact. It's the same, but it just feels like I need to turn it. So that's going to come in here. And then we have the hello. And we have our beautiful garlic, agapanthus. What did we decide this was? This one's going to kind of come in here. This one's going to go in here. And we have some of our Queen Anne's lace, aka mustard or whatever. So we have these coming out. Okay. So we're just going to have a fun spray of stuff in here. And I'll tighten this up and make it just a little bit more clear as to where everything's going. But it gives you an idea. So I'm going to start with, let me just kind of slide these all out of the way. Okay. Let's start by putting down these two pieces. And so I think I'm going to put this one down first. I think it's going to come more this way, right on that edge. So we'll glue this one and then we'll put the white one inside. I think that will be easier. Okay, flip this over. Okay, I know it could go center in there, but it just goes, it's not me. So that's why it's going in that spot. And I'm going to glue this, but I'm going to kind of leave this bottom area free just a little bit so that I can tuck some things in there. Free from glue, I should say. Much easier once it's all in place rather than trying to finagle with it. And I'm not going to pull those dimensionals just yet. I'm going to pull the two that are on the L's and the O. But the dimensionals on the H, I'm going to leave there because I'm going to be tucking underneath. Okay, so here is the hello. Oh, hello, Diana. So we've got one in here. One's going to go inside and one's going to go underneath on the white here. If I can get it in there. Just a little lift. There we go. So kind of tuck that one there. And this one's going to come in here. Maybe bring this one down just a little bit more. We'll see. And then we do have this one and this one. So I cut it off because I kind of wanted to extend it down further without the leaves showing. And it was also getting caught. So that's why I trimmed the leaves off of that one. So that's going to hang way down in there. And then we have this one. And I shouldn't have glued this all down so tight because it does go underneath. But, oh good, I can get in there. So we are in there. And we're in here. Up in here. Right about in there. And then this helps fill this space right in here. Okay. And then I have my flowers here, and I'm going to do one right about there. I might do a big one there. Haven't decided. And I do have one up here that I wanted to do, and I was going to do one gets tucked down in here as well, down inside. That's what we're going for. So let me get it all put together. I'm convinced on my bottom corner here, this one takes a little bit more arranging and rearranging, if you know what I mean. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to kind of pull these two out, hold them together, add a little glue to the back of them, and tuck them right back in. And then we'll pull this one, we'll glue on it, and we'll tuck it back in. Oops. Yeah, I am. Like, am I going under there? Am I going under the brown, the early espresso? Okay. And this one, I feel like I'm just going to put a little dimensional on it so that it has a little definite lift to it. Because these are like on those layers, and so it's naturally popping up. But this is going to be over here, and so I want it to maintain a little bit of lift. So that's why I'm going to just tuck it like so. Cool. Cool, cool. Then you know how I like to add my flowers. I like to give them just a little bit of bend. So just right in the palm of my hand, I give it just a little bit of push with my bone folder like you just saw. I'm just cleaning the tip of my glue. It's getting really bad. So I'm just going to do a little puddle right there. Well, maybe just a little bigger. All of my glue has been coming out, and then it came out and just been coming out full blast, and then it just kind of trickled right there. Okay, so just kind of wiggle that flower into there, right? Cool, cool, cool. It's pretty. And then we got this guy. Give that some curl. We'll give this one some curl as well. Do you guys do that? Give your flowers a little curl just to make them kind of stand out a little different. Okay, well that one's actually, it's stuck to some other glue, so it's kind of where it's going to go. I'm going to push it in just a little further. And I will tuck just a little bit of glue under this one right here. I don't need to pull it all the way out because I can feel it's kind of, you know, catching some of that other glue, which is a good thing. So I'm just going to reach it in there. A little bit of glue action there. And let's do this one here. This one here, I'm going to use a dimensional, just one dimensional. And then I'll do just a little bit of glue right here. And let's see, so as this tucks down, see, I've kind of put, that's, I think, where I want to be, right there. Okay, I didn't think I had pulled my back off. Short-term memory. There's that. And we'll reach this one up inside. I'm going to do a little glue on this. Okay, kind of right in here. Just gives us a little bit more of that mustard color right there. And then this one, so we had a flower here, and this one was in here, but I'm thinking, how is this if it's over here? I think I like it right in there a little better. Let me bring it up so you can see it a little closer. Okay, let's do that. But it's going on with a dimensional. Just because I don't want it to get lost because it's pretty small. Maybe pull it out a little further. There we go. Now I can glue these down. And we'll add our gems. and these two last flowers and call it art. I've got my hello is a little warped here. Oh well, that's the way it's going to go. It's really sticky. It's sticking down tight. So we'll put this one right in here. And this one up on this level. Okay. Add a little gem work. A little wink of Stella. These two didn't get colored. So this got colored. This has a little wink on it, but these two don't. So the Moody Mauve, just plain Moody Mauve cardstock, it needs just a little bit. You either need to hit it with your Stampin' Blends to give it just a little bit more visual texture than just, you know, plain old cardstock. It needed a little zhuzh. Okay, there's that. Now gems. So this one we'll use the clear gems. Okay, let's see here. We will do, so we have some clear. So we'll do right in there. And I love, I know it seems really like, duh, put a gem in the middle of the flower. It seems a little trite, a little bit obvious. But in this instance, it really helps to ground these flowers, and it lends strength to the entire composition, if you know what I mean. Okay, so I'm going to mush those on and curl those petals up a bit just to give them a little life. And there it is. Super pretty. Oh, you guys, who would have thought that we would love, or at least I do, espresso, Moody Mauve, and wild wheat. I know some people aren't a huge fan of wild wheat, but boy, do I sure like it. I sure like it. So here's what we've made today. We have our hello card, our thank you card, and our sending happy thoughts. So those are just a few that you've seen right here today. But these include some of the techniques and things that I've done on some others. And so let me show you some others that I've made. These were shared at my Studio Ink Spots Country Flowers camp. So here's a few more. So this card here, this is a very fancy card right here. This one here inspired our last card that we just made. But this one is also the same layout that we did in our Frames and Flowers class, where we're using two pieces of, we have a 12 by 12, so it's 12 by 4, and then we have an 8 by 4 piece in there that are sandwiched this together. So if you didn't see that card in the Frames and Flowers class, this is that same layout. Super fun. Lots of cool details in this one. So the same, took the nail file to kind of punch up some of those edges. Anyhow, this is the Designer Series paper. More Designer Series paper for the focal point here. And then a little bit more of the repetition of the Designer Series paper. And these here, these cool, these are textured adhesive back elements. I'm not sure. These are part of the suite, and these are fabulous, you guys. They are so cool. All right, there's that card. Here's another card using the Dashing Designs folder. Super simple little card here, but all of the elements from the suite. Here's one. This background here is the silver, but on white cardstock. So now some of those brush marks and things show up definitely on that lighter cardstock. This one is linen thread that's just colored with a green. I've used a green, probably Old Olive is my guess, an Old Olive Stampin' Blend. This piece here colored just the same way, just different colors. Here's another one using a couple of the frames. Now this piece here this is obviously Everyday Details, but again, a little help from the Country Flowers. This one has a little stamped inside action. That's actually die cut and added on with dimensionals. Pretty. I like this one. I like the simplicity of this one. Clean and simple. This is a thick basic white. Little blending action there, and then that repetition. So this inspired a second card I'll show you, but our card today that we did that had the 3. So that's kind of the inspiration on that one. And this one has a pretty inside as well. And it's been blended and splatter knocked. This one you may have seen online. Stampin' Fancy Friday for a color challenge last month. But this one, I don't know if you can see it, but on the Queen Anne's lace here, it's stamped in the espresso, but I took Pretty in Pink and just dotted around the little, the little sprays where the little flower buds would be, just to punch it up a little bit. And there it is again on the inside. Cool card. This one here looks like it's just a plain old card, but it's not. It is a diorama card. So there's the inside. So the wreath was made with all of the different wildflower blooms in the stamp set. So one more time. So this one here, the Sending the Happy Thoughts is covering that fold and the mechanics. So when you fold this up though, there's the bottom of the card, if that makes sense, but it folds up and becomes that diorama, okay? It's cool. This is my favorite. This is the inspiration for our second card today, that repetition. And so here is the gold enamel effects on wild wheat. And then I've done that wild wheat texturing on the edges there. And I did it here on this one as well, on this background DSP. So a lot of similar techniques. The inside of this one is gorgeous. Has a nice weight to this card, a nice feel. This one here, kind of fun. A little bit of stamping on the inside. So see, I used those same elements, the same leaf and the same flowers from Country Flowers. I used them here on a lot of these. This one is wildly crazy. Has a very bohemian feel to it, in that I've got some weaving of linen thread that's knotted. I took a piece of Moody Mauve, and then I covered it. We didn't see the copper metallic effects today, but this is copper metallic effects on Moody Mauve. Once it was dry, I ran it through the Dashing Designs. So that's that one right there. Okay, these are colored the same way we did today with the Moody Mauve and the Wild Wheat. Just a plain white inside. Sorry, I didn't mean to go so fast, but that's all it was. And look at, that's just with the scrap that was, left over. And then this last one, I just basically used the DSP, but then took a totally different direction and went and used my, the daisies. I don't even remember the name of the daisy, but it's the daisy dies. So I didn't use the stamp set, just the daisy dies. And then you open it up. It is a belly band. It is really pretty. And then it says, "You've been on my mind." So there's those dots again that are from this sweet collection. Anyhow, there's a closer look at the Wildly Flowering Designer Series paper, the dies, I'm trying to feel where my other cards went that we just made today. Here they are. A closer look at it. And I encourage you to take a deeper look at this suite. It really is spectacular. I mean, of all the ones that I've used, the airplane, the Mediterranean blooms, the different ones that I've had so far with this catalog, this is number one for me. So I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned a little something. And if not, hopefully you were inspired to just go get some ink out and start stamping. Thank you for being here. Eunice, you are welcome for the set of cards. You too have a great week. And I will catch you guys next week for Hearts and Hugs. We're going to go in a completely different direction. Completely different direction. Sharon Coleman says, "Wow, what a great group of cards you've shown today." Thank you, Sharon. Many of these were from today, but many of these from before, this was from Studio Ink Spots. So I don't normally have all those to show at the end of a class, but I thought I'll show you these. I'll give you a look at them. So anyhow, folks, have a good one. Don't forget, register for our Technique Time class. It'll be the changing leaves, and it's going to be pretty. All right, Jan Lacey, thank you so much for the inspiration. Jan, you are super welcome. Thanks a bunch, folks. I will catch you all next week. Bye-bye.